KCI. For reading today, we are going to learn about the job of a narrator and when characters are speaking in a story. So one thing I want to show you before I read this book is something called a quotation mark. Quotation marks can be found in the very beginning of a sentence, and it will go all the way until a character stops speaking, and it'll end with quotation marks. It looks like two little lines, and they're a little curved. So when you see those quotation marks in a story, that will usually mean that a character is speaking. So you want to try and use a different character voice, or you just want to keep in mind that that's not what the narrator is saying. It's a character in the story speaking. A narrator is the person that tells the story. So anytime you don't see quotation marks, that's usually the narrator, and you can use a regular talking voice. So I'm going to read you The Invisible Boy, and I love this story because it also has a really good message. It is about a little boy that sometimes feels invisible. He's not really invisible. You can see him the whole time, but sometimes kids ignore him. He might be a little quieter. He may be a little more shy, so he doesn't have as many friends as he would like. And hold on, I need to pause this video because Bali seems to want to play outside. Okay, we're back. Just me though, not Bali. So I'm going to read you The Invisible Boy, and I'm going to talk a little bit about when I see some quotation marks to try and make sure I know that a character is speaking during the story. The Invisible Boy by Trudy Ludwig. Okay, so I'm already noticing that in the beginning of the story, there's no quotation marks. So I'm going to use the job as the narrator and just read the story. Can you see Brian, the invisible boy? Even Mrs. Carlotti has trouble noticing him in her classroom. She's too busy dealing with Nathan and Sophie. Okay, so I love the illustrations in this book too. You'll notice that in this picture, Brian is black and white. He's not as colorful and vibrant as the other children because they're trying to show him as invisible, that you can't really see him as well as the other kids. I noticed that Mrs. Carlotti seems to be very busy with two other classmates. One seems to be crying, one's screaming, they're not behaving, and Brian, who was following all of the directions, is sometimes getting lost in the shuffle. Nathan has problems with what Mrs. Carlotti calls volume control. He uses his outside voice inside too much. Oh, so he always screams. Sophie whines and complains when she doesn't get her way. Nathan and Sophie take up a lot of space. Brian doesn't. So I'm still doing my job as the narrator. When the bell rings for recess, Mika and JT take turns choosing kids for their kickball teams. The best players get picked first. Then the best friends of the best players. Then the friends of the best friends. Only Brian is left, still waiting and hoping. So Brian is such a shy kid, and he doesn't really have many friends, that he's not always picked for kickball either. And notice that he's still black and white. All of the kids are very colorful in these illustrations. JT glances in Brian's direction and just as quickly looks away. Okay, here's where some quotations come in. So this is how I know that JT is the one that's going to be speaking. We've got enough players for each team, he tells the others. Let's play ball. Back to the narrator because there's no quotation marks. In the cafeteria, Madison and her friends talk about her birthday party. Here's the quotation marks again. The rope swing over the pool was awesome, says JT. Yeah, so was the water slide, adds Fiona. Something else that you'll notice along with quotation marks is the author may add who is speaking. So it said, says JT, adds Fiona. That was the best pool party ever. I'm so glad you guys had fun, said Madison. Back to the narrator. Everybody did except Brian. He wasn't invited. I feel really bad for Brian. I wonder if kids will start to notice him. At choosing time, while the other kids play board games and read, Brian sits at his table doing what he loves to do best. He draws fire-breathing dragons scaling tall buildings, space aliens locked in intergalactic battles, greedy pirates digging for treasure, and superheroes with the power to make friends wherever they go. On Monday morning, Mrs. Carlotti introduces Justin, a new student to the class. Brian smiles shyly at him. Some of the other kids sneak looks at Justin, trying to figure out if he's cool enough to be their friend. They haven't quite made up their minds yet. But look who is noticing the new boy, Brian. And do you notice something about his illustration? Do you see a little color coming back to his face? At lunch, Madison and JT watch Justin with chopsticks. Okay, here's some quotation marks again. "What's that?" asks Madison as she points at Justin's food. "It's bulgogi." "Well, what?" Oh my gosh, this is another really cool thing that allows us to realize that a character is talking. These are called speech bubbles. So along with quotation marks, you might see speech bubbles above a character's head, and it shows that they're the ones speaking those words. So there's a lot of speech bubbles here now. So here's Justin explaining. "Bulgogi, it's Korean barbecued beef. My grandma made it for me. It's really good. Do you want to try some?" "There's no way I'd eat bulgogi." These kids are not being very kind. And the kids laugh, all of them. That is, except Brian. He sits there wondering which is worse, being laughed at or feeling invisible. The next day, when Justin goes to his cubby to put his backpack away, he notices a piece of paper with his name on it. "Justin, I thought the bulgogi looked good. Brian." And here's a picture of Brian that he drew himself, and it says, "Yum." At morning recess, Brian finds a piece of chalk on the ground and starts drawing. Here's Justin, and here's our speech bubble, so we know he's talking. "You're Brian, right?" "Yeah. Thanks for the note." And look, they're talking. So Brian is starting to become a little more colorful in the illustration because he's getting some attention. Okay, here's some quotation marks. "Hey, Justin," Emilio calls out from the tetherball court. "You're up next." "Sorry, I gotta go," says Justin. "By the way, that's a really cool drawing," he adds before taking off. So this was a compliment that Brian got too, and I'm noticing the color is coming back to him in his illustrations even more. Back in class, Mrs. Carlotti asks the kids to team up in 2s or 3s for a special project. The kids scurry around the room to pair off. Brian heads towards Justin. Quotation marks. "I'm already with Justin," says Emilio. "Find someone else." Oh, and then look, his color goes back to black and white now. Brian looks at the floor, wishing he could draw a hole right there to swallow him up. But here's our speech bubbles. I wonder what Justin's going to say. "Mrs. Carlotti said we can have up to 3 people in our group. We're only 2. Come on, Emilio, let him work with us." "Okay, I guess." And now Brian's color is coming back. Justin seems like a really good friend. Mrs. Carlotti gives the class directions for the project. All right, quotation marks, so this means Mrs. Carlotti is speaking. "Your assignment is to work together to write a story about what you see in the photograph. Use your imagination and have fun." "Whoa, cool," says Emilio. "What kind of people do you think live in a house like that?" "I don't know, but I bet Brian could draw them to go with our story," says Justin. Brian smiles as he takes out his lucky pen. So here, all the boys are working together for their project. And what are you noticing about Brian in the illustrations? He's just as colorful as all of the other children. because kids are being kind to him and they're including him and they're being a friend and he feels like he belongs, which is so nice. It's lunchtime again, Brian's least favorite part of the day. Another 20 long minutes of kids talking and laughing with everyone else but him. Here's quotation marks. Brian! He hears someone shout. Hey, Brian, over here! Brian turns and sees Justin waving at him. Emilio nods at Brian as he makes room for him at the table. Cookie? Thanks. Maybe, just maybe, Brian's not so invisible after all. The end. So I love this story for a couple reasons. One, it taught us about the job of the narrator and also explains and how to be kind to others and a friend. And it also showed us quotation marks, which allowed us to realize when a character might be speaking in a story, but then also introduced some speech bubbles too, which also shows when characters are speaking in a story. But I especially love this story because of the great message to always include people and be kind, because you never know if other kids or other friends may feel a little invisible because they may not feel included. So it's always so great to include people and be kind and be a friend, because that's how you bring everyone's colors out. So I hope you loved this story. And when you're reading today or any day, try and look at if a story has quotation marks or speech bubbles so you know when to maybe change your voice or just be aware that a character is talking in the story. Bye, friends.